Welcome everybody, Steve here. Today we are going to trim this door out. This has been a job that's been kind of lingering around the house for a while, and it's finally, we had lots of nice days, but I've been working. So it's a beautiful day out today, and I said I've got to get her done. So we're going to trim this out. Now, I installed this door a couple years ago, and I've got a storm door here, and it's an old storm door, and I wanted to keep the old storm door. So what I did was, for my brick mold, I basically just cut a piece of 2x4, as you can see, and made it fit the existing opening. Now what I did here was, this one ended up having to be a little narrower so I could get my door in. But that doesn't matter. We're going to trim it all out with aluminum. Now, what you want to do is take an accurate measurement. It's pretty simple. Take an accurate measurement and always go to the, to the biggest size that you have to have. Get a couple chunks bent, and you can see I've got this piece here all bent up. At the top, I don't think you can see it in the frame, but at the top, it's kind of funky, so I've got just a 90, and from there we're going to be able to flash this door out and make it look absolutely perfect. Well, that's the plan. Right, first thing that we're going to do is we're going to measure the total length. Oh, before we get started, square and some really good tin snips. If you don't have good tin snips, you're going to struggle. First thing I'm going to do, measure this up, cut this to length. Now, go the other way. When you're cutting flashing, just cut down like this on either side. And then bend it till it breaks. If you really want it nice and smooth and clean, you can always get it a little bit bigger, then go all the way around. Well, that looks pretty good. So up at the top here, you got to cut a notch out of this. Alright? But we're not going to cut the whole notch. We're just going to cut down here. So we need this measurement, and it happens to be 1.5. Because it's just a 2x4. We're going to cut straight down here, and we're going to bend this flap out. You'll see why in a second. Now you want a nice straight bend, so let's put the square on here. Give her a bend. And then you can go past a little ways and then bring it back. Okay, the whole idea of that is when I get this in here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a staple in here, and that's going to help hold everything. Okay? Does that make sense? All right, let's address the next issue. Okay, here's the next issue. Now, this might not happen when you're doing yours, but mine is kind of a, you know, you're putting a door in an old house and you're trying to put an old door in, but on the bottom here, it's the wall's actually a little further out, so this is a little bit too long, and it doesn't fit tight up against my brick mold. And that starts right about here and gets really bad down here. So from about this point down. Now you got a couple options. You could scribe this, or I got a better idea. So instead of cutting the trim, I'm going to take my oscillating saw here, and I'm going to cut a groove just along here so the trim can actually fit in. And that'll help hold it in place. There, that fits nice and tight now. Good. Now we can install this piece. So the plan here, of course, is to put this in here, and I'm going to use a little bit of silicone to hold this in, because we don't want to start putting nails in here if we don't have to. But in order to hold it into place, I'm actually going to use a little bit of contact cement. So, get the lid off. And one of the things I'm going to do too is I'm just going to squeeze everything so that it fits a little bit tighter. Not a whole bunch, but a little bit. Makes life a little easier. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna get that everywhere, I know that. It's a dirty shirt. Okay, we have the contact cement in there, so I'm just going to rub it up against the board here so that it's on the wood as well. You can see it there. And we'll add a little bit of silicone. That spot right there needs a little bit more. For all the other spots, I'm just going to put a little dab of silicone. You don't want to glue this on to the point where you'll never get it off again. chances are you're going to destroy it anyway. Okay, the glue's starting to set up already. We'll start at the top. Make sure we're nice and tight. Okay, that looks good. Now I'll just put a staple up there. I'll get her done. I'm using just a 1/4 inch crown staple. You could use a brad nailer, but chances are it's just going to go straight through. So just like that one did. I'm going to loosen that one off. Beautiful. Now to help hold this in over the long run, we'll run a bead of sealant along the side. That's one piece. Let's cut the other side. Now this one here, because I had to go narrower, I just can't cut a slot. That'd be really hard to do. So I am going to have to kind of trim a little bit off of here. Now if I put a chunk in there, I've got to cut some places almost 1/4 inch off down at the bottom, and then it gets better as we get up here. But it's not too tough. Just kind of figure out where you have to go, play with it a little bit, trim it off, make her fit. Then we're going to have to measure out everything here and cut out for our hinges for our storm door. Use your finger, and you can get a pretty good line where you need to cut. Remember, it's only a piece of flashing. You don't have to have it perfect. when you're doing this, because you got to cut back a little bit. On my particular case, you guys, you might not even have to do this. Hopefully not. But what I do is always cut it a little bit large or shorter, and then come back and trim it up later. Alright, we got her looking good. Time to glue her on. We're almost there. Now let's do the top piece, and we got her trimmed out. Well, I think we got the top part done. Now we just have to do the top. Now, this piece here, we have an air gap in here because I made this brick mold is actually narrower than this side, but I made my flashing the same size. Make sense? That way it's going to look even. It doesn't really matter. It's just a piece of trim, right? Not holding anything up. So we just have to take this measurement now. We'll cut us a piece of 90. Now you can see it doesn't really fit. We got to cut a notch out of here now. That is this width. And if you got a flared out end, just bend it back in there. After you cut it, sometimes it does that. This piece here happens to be 1 3/8. So we'll cut a notch out of the bottom, and then I'm going to measure it. I'm just actually going to put a pencil mark on the other side to get it a little tighter. It's time to cut the angle here. I leave about 1/4 of an inch at the top here, and then just go right down to your mark. If it helps, put a line in there. We're going to put a mark in so that it looks like it's going to rain. I got to hurry up here. If I put a mark in, then it won't screw up and then the rain won't bother me. That looks really, really good. Time to glue her up. We're gonna have to hurry. I think the rain's coming. That contact cement seems to work pretty good. Now, if it doesn't, you could always put a staple in there and then caulk it up. All right, we're done. So now all we have left to do is caulk this. And I've got a caulking that's about the same color and it should work great. So let's caulk this up real quick before it starts raining on me. And we're done. Woohoo! You can see how nice and tight that corner looks. We got it right. The key here is just don't go putting a whole bunch in. Just a nice, even, thin bead. Don't go too far. Put it on your finger. There you go.